Okay. Thank you very much and good evening. Just a couple of comments before we get going here and relating to our most favorite subject that everybody gets to deal with daily is COVID. It appears we're still getting a pretty good run of COVID in Saskatchewan today. In fact, it was 240 cases with I think 5 in the Central West. We've done a good job here in Kindersley for sure, and I sincerely hope we can keep it up until we finally get some vaccines in arms and get this thing under control. As far as the town, right at the present time, our pool and rinks are operating under very strict COVID protocols, but we are still operating, and at this point in the game we don't have any instructions or guidance from the province that would indicate that we have to vary that. So I think we'll just play with that until such time as we hear anything differently. That's basically all I wanted to say on that. Now we'll move on to the meeting. Agenda item 1.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley, having established quorum, resolves to call the January 25th, 2021 regular meeting of Council to order at 5:01 p.m. I have a mover and seconder, please. Dean, second. Rod, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Don't know whether anybody saw anything on the consent agenda they want to move into the regular one. I think there are only 2 items, which is a Sask Water Operations Report and a South Saskatchewan River Watershed December newsletter, so nothing there. Agenda item 2.2, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to adopt the agenda for the January 25th, 2021 regular meeting of Council as presented, and that a copy of this agenda be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. I would like a mover and a seconder for those. Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Schaefer, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Does anybody see anything on the agenda they want to declare a conflict of interest on? We looked at it earlier today and I don't think we saw anything. So should be fine, I believe. And 4.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves, whereas the time being 5:03 p.m., that the regular meeting of Council be adjourned to a confidential in-camera meeting. Mover, seconder again, please. Chris, second. Warren, all in favor? The confidential in-camera meeting is concluded and the regular meeting of Council is resumed. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Christine. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Agenda item 5.2, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to amend the agenda of the January 25th, 2021 meeting to remove item 7.3, the Field of Honors, a request to enter and earn, and number 9.1, bylaw 0121, and that administration is further directed to discuss this matter with the Kindersley branch of the Royal Canadian Legion and provide to Council an opinion from them in writing. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Andy, second one. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Agenda item 6.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve as presented the minutes from the January 11th, 2021 regular meeting of Council, and that these minutes be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. I need a mover and a seconder. Please, Chris. Second. Rob. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, and I have under 7.1 is an order to remedy appeal. I'll pass that through to Audrey and Melissa, please.
Okay, through the mayor to council. So this is an order to remedy for the pile of snow on a property. This order to remedy is in compliance with our snow bylaw 1417, which he is in violation of, and we have given quite a bit of leeway. Our bylaw says 48 hours. A lot of that snow came in after snowfall back in November, so we're just asking that it be removed. It does cause havoc with regards to drainage and flowing onto our infrastructure, which is the roads, and causing ice and whatever. I'll let Melissa speak further on that. Kim. Okay.
So our bylaw 1417, it does speak to a number of different items, and one of them being that snow piles on certain areas should only be a certain height or length. And this one being in our C1 district, it isn't in compliance with our bylaw. We have had discussions that perhaps there is some things that we could change into our bylaw. For instance, if properties did have their own drainage system, that maybe they wouldn't be required to remove the snow, or at least have it placed in a certain way on a property so that the snow would be going into their own drainage system. And then maybe the other one in larger lots like the M1 or M2 zone, because they have a lot of property that perhaps if they had the snow piled in the middle of their property or somewhere where it's not going to cause any damage to the adjoining properties, that may be allowed. So those are two possible points that we could discuss whether council wants to see that put in, as long as, say, their snow wasn't being put into the drainage ditches and whatnot in the industrial area, because we do have an issue currently with that. But this certain property is in our C1 zone, so it's in our downtown commercial core, and their snow pile is currently like in the middle of the front of the parking lot. So and this lot doesn't have its own drainage system, so it does cause some issues as far as like in the spring when it's going to be, you know, thawing and then freezing at night and thawing and freezing at night. We will see like things that we have noticed in the past is that it'll ice up at night. We get phone calls, you know, that the street or sidewalk is icy, and then, you know, we have to dispatch the sand truck, and then it's wet later on, and then come, you know, further on in the spring, then we've got a lot more work for the street sweeper and whatnot, just with all the sand that we have to put in that particular area. So, and then there is some site issues just with vehicles leaving the parking lot, turning onto Main Street. There could be an issue. And safety's also been one thing that's been brought up for snow piles in commercial type zones, that kids like to, you know, sled on there, that kind of thing in parking lots, and it's kind of dangerous. So that's some of the reasons why that is in the zoning, or sorry, in the snow bylaw. But one thing that we do have listed is that it needs to be removed within 48 hours, and Melissa with bylaw has been very lenient on that and hasn't required any of the businesses to remove the snow in 48 hours. We're just asking that it be removed in a somewhat timely fashion, like before spring really is what we're looking for. So maybe giving him a little bit more time, because I think the ordered remedy ends January 23rd, which is already the 25th. So maybe extending could be an option, but I guess I'll just let council offer their opinions.
And I think it would be important to point out that we did have complaints about this.
Correct.
This is not, some people haven't noticed it. So, council, do you have any comments? Councillor Galbraith.
I'll say one, like I said, just Trent had come and talked to me and that, and the problem is with, like I said, if he's allowed to keep that snow, the way it is there's really no way that the next person has it in their back alley, and then like it's just too big of a general thing to worry about that one. And like Kim said, I mean, out in the industrial area, any snow in the ditches that we've just spent, we're gonna spend $2 million on roads, that's gonna wreck the roads, that snow has to be moved. Whether the town ends up doing it, that has to be moved for sure. And I think, like I said, we discussed it through length, trying to figure out different ways, and like I said, maybe in the next council meeting, you know, there'll be some amendments, but any snow that's on public property, like in the ditches or anything, industrial area or anywhere, that snow has to move or it's just gonna wreck the roads, there's gonna be washouts, snow, water will be backed up into somebody's land, so I totally agree that has to be moved. At whoever expense, I don't care, that has to get done. But then, like I say, talking about in industrial area, big parking lots, if they wanna pile it up somewhere, it doesn't affect anybody, maybe we make changes there, we'll discuss it some more.
If they have their own doing it.
Yeah, or if they have their own drainage, or, you know, we're trying to figure out some options to kind of, you know, for this once in a however many year storm, at least we can kind of be handle it and everybody will understand it from here on in, so, no, sounds good to me.
Okay. Further comments, council?
No, I just had the one that,
Chris?
yeah, I drove by it and had a look, and he had mentioned that there were several businesses that weren't in compliance. And I think the one thing I was noticing with this particular pile is how close it is to the sidewalk and the road. And then kind of is an eye-opener that in our bylaw that residential has a setback requirement, and there is no setback requirement for commercial, so, I mean, right now, that's another thing we should probably be looking at is not, I mean, right now, how it reads is you could pile 2 meters up right next to a sidewalk or roadway on a commercial, but not on a residential. So we might want to look at some setback requirements in our commercial zones as well. But it is quite close.
I'll just add,
Deputy Mayor?
it's a unique winter thus far for the amount of snow we usually get here. And there's been a lot of us, myself included, that have had to pay to have the snow removed, and you don't like it, but it's just part of being in business, and you do it and move on.
And some of the ones that were mentioned that also had piles have also since been removed. So there's a lot of the properties that he mentioned had piles for sure, but they have since removed them and paid to have them removed. Which we do offer free snow dumping in, what, 3 different places?
Currently, we have 3 places.
So it doesn't
around.
cost anything to take your snow or have someone pick it up and take, there's no charge for that, so.
I think we have a consensus then, council, that we contact the taxpayer and advise him that we'll be a little lenient with the time frame, but that it does have to be moved. So, fair enough?
What time frame would you like to have it?
Kim, Mel, what do you think?
I think the 1st of February, or even before, like,
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now? Okay.
2 weeks from receipt.
Sure.
Okay.
It's gotta get moved anyway, so what's the difference?
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 7.2, that the council of the town of Kindersley resolves to direct administration to complete and sign the certificate of clerk of local authority and sign the condo local certificate for the surface condo development located at lot 14, block 20, plan G697. Kim, could you enlighten us on this one, please?
Sure. So we had a plan of survey submitted for an address. It's actually located at 416 3rd Avenue West. So it's currently a duplex building, and they are requesting to change it to a surface building condominium. So this is just the paperwork that they've submitted, and once the town of Kindersley signs off on it, then it gets submitted to the province. So as far as meeting our zoning bylaw requirements, we don't feel that there's any concerns at this time for this property.
Any questions on that, council? If not, then I would ask for a mover and a second to this motion. Dean, Chris? Oops, read without my glasses on. All in favor? Wave your hands. Thank you. Okay, 7.3 we do not have, so 7.4 financial report for December, Audrey?
This is to the end of December. Pretty much every single one of those have been brought forward before. They've just been items that were brought forward before, like the extra grant money and that kind of stuff. Anything that does look like it's a little out of whack on the actual statement is just due because of amortization. I haven't done the amortization yet, which is in the budget as an amount, so it's going to be a lot lower. In some, like say for instance, the arena, it's got a huge amortization amount, so that'll skew them a bit. Again, we will still be paying invoices, doing journal entries, doing a little bit of AR yet in the next couple months before we totally finalize the year. So these numbers again will change a little bit as we go on, but not huge.
Any questions of Audrey on the financials? We will be, I presume, be March at least before you get around to getting towards an audit and...
Yeah, usually, not the first part of April, but yeah. I'm hoping for March-ish.
A virtual audit?
Yeah, it'll be virtual, I think, again, yeah.
Okay.
We got
If there's no questions, could I have a mover and seconder for the financial report? Warren, Gary? All in favor? Thank you. Agenda item 8.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to accept as submitted the list of accounts as paid by the Town of Kindersley in the amount of $300,462.86, and that a copy of said accounts be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. Did you get any questions on that?
I didn't unless someone did and I missed it, but I didn't see any email, so I didn't answer any.
Anything that you see now, Council? I think a lot of it is power and water treatment, energy. Public Works had a bunch of anti-enzyme and payrolls.
It's one of the smallest ones we've got.
Yeah, I thought you'd missed something actually. Anything under $1 million is usually a miracle. Okay, I called a vote the last time, which I shouldn't have called a vote, so is it okay, Councillor Schaefer, if you move it, and Councillor Becker, you second it? I didn't have a motion for the financials, but we've already passed that one, I guess. Okay. 9(1)A we are not dealing
Pull
with.
9, pull all of 9A, B, C, and the bylaw.
9(1)B, 9(1)C, D, and the bylaw.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Agenda item 10.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to accept the consent, or to approve the consent agenda, which included only a couple of items: Saskwater December operational report and the South Saskatchewan River Water Security Year in Review newsletter for December 2020. There was nothing of great value in any of them. So could I have a mover and a seconder for those, please? Dean, Rob? All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Our work is not yet done. Agenda item 11.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves, whereas the time being 7:45 p.m., the regular meeting of council be adjourned to a confidential in-camera meeting. Again, I need a mover and a seconder for that. Randy, Gary? All in favor? Carried. Any business, council, from the in-camera session?
It's warm, but
If not, agenda item 14.1, that the council of town of Kindersley resolves that all business being concluded, the January 25th, 2021 regular meeting of council is adjourned at 9:03 p.m. Mover, seconder, please. Warren, Dean. All in favor? Thank you.